on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Listen, baby, every night and day I dream of another way to tell you something good. I don't think that I'm understood. You walk away and I frown with my head hung far down. You tell me what is wrong. You just wanna be loved.
Out from Mary's verse. Gotta let it Blige. I remember they performed this song on Arsenio Hall, and it was so intense. You could tell they probably had just got through arguing or something, but the passion was there in their voices. I'm telling you, good old days. If loving you is all that I have to do, I don't want to do anything else. Yeah. Those are some intense feelings. I don't have those. But shout out to you all that do. Listen, you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome back in again. That 90s love, that 80s love, that 70s love. We appreciate it, you know. I hope it gets back to that where you just appreciate your significant other. You want to go through the battle and the challenges of life with them. You're not looking for your significant other to be a crutch for you, a leg up, but a partner, an equal, someone to hold. Anyway, shout out to them for all of that. So we were talking a bit about Monique and still some of the fallout and commentary from her interview on Club Shay Shay. We talked about She and Shaq, which was one of the more peaceful back and forths from that situation out there. Well, Tiffany Haddish allegedly is not going to get into a back and forth with Monique and the comments that Monique made about Tiffany's DUI and current relationship status. Because honestly, well, that's aside. We'll talk about that later. So on the podcast, remember, Monique responded to an interview that Tiffany had did a while back with GQ where she said, basically she didn't have a husband like Sydney or something to that point. And it was also about Monique's comments regarding the Netflix special, etc., 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 right? So Tiffany Haddish at the time had a different view as far as Netflix strategy. And in the interview, she said, "My business runs different than her business. I don't live her life. I don't have that husband of hers. I'm looking at how Netflix has opened up so many opportunities for Black females in comedy." That was what she said. And one, I feel like she was asked a question and she responded. Two, I mean, maybe that husband of hers, but really to me, what she said wasn't so bad. But that's just my opinion, and it's not me, right? However, Monique felt how she felt about those comments. So, according to multiple people, right, Tiffany has said that she's not going to address what Monique had to say. She's just going to move around and let her have that. And I think that would be best. I mean, it's like, okay, Tiffany may or may not have gotten a shot off. Monique felt it was a shot. Monique got hers off. And at this point, listen, Tiffany has bigger fish to fry, which she allegedly is taking care of. And really, what do you want to say? You're going to go back and forth? Oh, well, with one of those, I had a man. Oh, I mean, again, it's all subjective, but we're in the trenches now with Daddy and Monique and their kids and all of the commentary. I really do hope that it's time for us to move out of the group chat and just focus on whatever's happening at the comedy show. But we live in hope. Listen, when we come forward, I'm going to share with you about a new dating app that matches people up by credit score. And we're going to get into why it seems that so many hip-hop artists from the 80s are now moved into Hollywood and doing well at it. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick!
Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well, no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, oh, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, really quickly, we talked about Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign dropping Vultures. And there was some controversy about some of the samples used on the album. Donna Summer's family came out and said that they didn't give Kanye permission to use some things. Also, Ozzy Osbourne, you know, from the classic MTV show The Osbournes, and also famously a rock star in the 70s. Well, apparently Kanye used or wanted to use a sample of one of his songs. I believe it was War Pig, which I actually think that is a song T-Pain might have performed at his Standards concert a few months back. But Ozzy said that he didn't want Kanye to use his music because of his past remarks, you know, and the anti-Semitism thing. Well, the internet, if they don't know, they'll find it so that you never forget. So an interview clip of Ozzy's from back in the day was dug up, and some people are calling hypocrite. Some people are calling foul. Let's see what you think.
Who do you think has influenced your stage shows the most?
Me?
Where did you get your ideas from? From working in a mortuary when you were 15?
Adolf Hitler.
What do you mean by that, Ozzy?
Adolf Hitler had a charisma in a bad way. And I kind of admired him. He was a freak, he was a lunatic. But he had something about him, you know. I know it was all bad what he did. It was terrible what that guy did. He killed all these people and whatever. But it was like, he had something about him, you know. And I admired him, not for what he was.
So, it was a 1982 interview where Ozzy cited being inspired by Hitler, right? Not unlike some of the comments that Kanye has made in the past. Again, not defending Kanye's statements, simply pointing out the hypocrisy. Now, one can say certainly, and I should add that Ozzy was the lead singer of Black Sabbath back in the day, and it was War Pigs. That is correct, the name of the song that it was. But, you know, I don't know if in 82 Ozzy said that for shock value. He really felt that way. He was looking at it from an esoteric perspective. Don't know. Don't have a clue. But he managed to move on and become everybody's dad, so to speak, in the late 90s, early 2000s when he was on MTV, you know, and going through whatever he was going to. And now he is looking at Kanye with the same sort of POV that people looked at him. So, of course, people are like, is that fair? Is that right? They had a little back and forth. Well, not really a real back and forth, but, you know, they had some words in the press effectively. And Ozzy said, I want no association with this man. And he also said that, you know, he's a heartache to many. Not completely untrue, but people thought the same of Ozzy. Again, it's not in defense of, it's just the irony of. I suppose, once again, when you know better, you do better. And I guess that is where Ozzy is saying that he is at this point of his career. But do you think it's fair, or do you think that Ozzy was basically just trying to utilize a moment and look like he's taking a stand with an easy target? Because again, do you really feel that way about Kanye? Or is it just the easiest thing to do at this point? Who knows? Obviously, it's not there, but Kanye is still doing his thing with the album. I don't know. Andy?
First off, the Vultures album from Kanye West is a fire album.
It is.
Surprisingly. Probably top 5 Kanye albums.
Wow, top 5, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, to my surprise.
You listened to it more than once?
Well, I listened to it once.
Okay.
And, to my surprise, I really went in with no expectations. And it's crazy because I feel like the samples are what made the album.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? It was like
the way he flipped them.
The way he flipped them. The way he incorporated. Like if you listen to the album, it's like it's alternative hip hop meets pop meets stadium music. If that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? It is music for the stadium, for people like Woodstock or something like that, for people to rock with. But it still has his hip hop elements. He is over here rapping. He is flowing. There's a track featuring Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs demolishes that record. Plus, he had features. The album is dope, to my surprise. But I definitely liked the samples, and I don't know. I think if Ozzy Osbourne was smart, he shouldn't have had a problem because, if the sample was highlighted, it could have been like a Cheryl Lynn situation, right?
Right, where he blew up on, more sales for him.
Absolutely.
But is it did he not want to, not obviously he didn't. The association with Kanye West at this point is tricky. I feel like, though, they're kind of behind the pace of things just a bit, because though people are still mad at Kanye, I hate to say it like this, but people aren't mad at Kanye anymore. I mean, they are, but they're not. Do you know what I'm saying?
This is on brand with Kanye.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was the case, Kanye should have got canceled a long time ago when he said George Bush doesn't care about black people. I mean, of course,
well,
the
we
black
weren't
people
canceling people then.
True that. But I'm just saying he's always been controversial. The whole Taylor Swift situation. The reality is he makes dope music. And when he drops an album or he drops a certain song, ain't nobody worried about his antics or anything like that. So, I don't know. Ozzy Osbourne is old. What is he, like 80-something?
Right, something.
Yeah, it probably is one of those situations where, he's trying to just, I don't know.
Take a stand for something.
Take a stand for whatever reason.
Let me ask you this, because I was trying to think, what do you think of Ty Dolla $ign's influence on him, and as far as this project, do you feel Ty's presence? Do you think, does he just come off as just sort of somebody singing backup tracks, or what are your thoughts on that?
I see it from all angles. Ty Dolla $ign is on every track on the album. Can I say that he stands out? I don't know. That's difficult for me to answer, but his presence is there on the album. Yeah. So, if you're not familiar with Ty Dolla $ign, if you listen to the album, you'll get familiar.
Okay. I've listened to a couple of tracks. I haven't gotten into it, but I mean, it sonically
it
sounds
is
good, right?
I think he has some records for the club. He has some records for the strip club as well too. So I just want to put that out there.
I mean, Kanye just, here's the thing. We've been talking about a little bit about theme albums and artists stepping outside of their comfort zone and trying different things. And Kanye is certainly someone who is willing to experiment and take things out of character. But
Definitely
I wonder if some people are confused, like, but what happened to the life of Pablo and the gospel stuff?
I think every album past Graduation, you could call it an experimental type album.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? 808s and Heartbreak. I think that's where he heavily used auto-tune. His production changed a little bit or whatnot. I think he kind of strayed away from the drums that we're familiar with. And then after that, I forgot the Life of Pablo. You know, every album was an experimental album. And I just know that, you know, he doesn't want to make, you know, typical music. He wants to make music that's going to rock a stadium, not an arena, a stadium.
Well, you know, Kanye's going nowhere. We'll have to see how this twist and turn lands out. Shout out to Kendi in the chat. He, of course, wants to know why you only listen to it once.
Well, you know, I think I'm a victim of today's standards. You know what I'm saying? I got a music ADD. So, you know, after I listen to an album, I mean, I don't sit with music like I used to back in the day. But doesn't mean that I wouldn't go back and listen to it. I think it has that.
It has repeat value for you.
It has repeat value for me, yes. But I mean, a lot of music has dropped recently too. You know,
Facts.
Usher. So you know, I'm trying to catch up.
There definitely is a lot of. I haven't I've listened to Usher's album. I think just the first half of it, and I liked it. But then I've been hearing some people say that they are not loving it, and the songs that they have been mentioned aren't songs that I've checked out yet. Some people felt like they said that it felt a little all over the place. But what I heard initially, I felt like it sounded good and current, but still sounded like Usher. You know? I don't know. I'm not mad at it.
I think I'm about halfway through the album as well, too. But there was this one record called Big. I don't know if you've listened to that record.
I feel like
that record felt a little rushed or, you know.
Is that the... I feel like I heard somebody
You gotta do it big.
And this the one... Does he mention McDonald's or something in that?
He does,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That song was kind of... what are you doing? That's like, why is this song even on the album?
Maybe it's a filler track, or maybe they're thinking marketing, like, ooh, we could do a McDonald's deal with this right here, or something like that.
Maybe.
Might have bigger plans for the song. I do feel like sometimes they stick those tracks on there, like, yeah, we're going to use this for that. Doesn't matter if your fans don't like it, they can skip over it. You know, we're in the streaming era. It doesn't matter anyway. Well, shout out to Usher. Definitely gonna get more into the Kanye album. I think I only heard a song or two, but I mean, musically, I don't, maybe, you know, not the whole thing, but he always puts out something that I'm gonna rock with. So
I think musically, you have to warm yourself up to it. Musically, it's not your typical hip hop. You know, I feel like there's some rock elements there. There's some pop elements there.
See, I like rock and pop, so.
Or then you might actually like it.
I mean, again, I can't think of a Kanye album where I've just been like, hated it, start to finish. There's nothing on there for me. I don't think that exists. I may not love everything, or I may not be in the pocket with everything, but 2 or 3 songs I'm going to be like, yep. And honestly, I feel like that's kind of enough. The way that we are now, the times, I don't really expect complete albums from artists. I know that's kind of sad, but I really don't. I just, if I could get a couple of good singles, I'm cool. You know, that's the way it is. So we just talked about a little bit ago Drake dropping the video for Rich Baby Daddy, which is a song I like for that was off of For All the Dogs. I have not gone back to, I should say, For All the Dogs since my initial listen. Not for any other reason, just that there wasn't anything that grabbed me, I don't think, or I just haven't had time to, but not for any particular reason. I just haven't. But around that same time, Drake had announced that he was thinking about taking a break and not making music for a while and stepping out into other things. Well, those thoughts were short-lived. So we know that Drake is currently on tour with with J. Cole right now. I don't know what I was going to say. In my mind, it wasn't coming out right. But Drake and 21 Savage are currently on the It's All a Blur tour right now. So in a recent show, I guess it was in St. Louis the other night, Drake mentioned that, I said I was taking a break and all of that, but I'm right back on the road. It's hard for me to stay away from you guys. I really love you. You never know. I might get bored and start making new music on the road. See where it goes in the next little while. Now, we know that For All the Dogs, he was recording when he was on tour last summer into the fall with 21 Savage. So it's not as if he doesn't have the capacity to record and make music while he's out there. Maybe he's inspired while he's touring and so forth. But, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I do think it might be good for him to take a little bit of time off. I know it seems like in some ways he has, but he hasn't. He really hasn't. He's been churning them out at a high pace. And once again, it's not that I love everything that he's putting out there, but there are songs. I'm a Drake fan. I'll admit it, that I like some of the songs, some of the problematic ones that you guys don't like too. I do like them, but I think that he could benefit from, a realignment, something different, just to get some new experiences into his music. I think it's a good idea for everybody, but we'll have to see what he decides. Drake is a creative individual, so we'll have to see. Listen, coming up, there's lots of dating apps out there. There's lots of ways that you can get matched up. However, would you be interested in a new dating app that bases connecting partners on your credit score? We're going to get into that on the other side. Plus, of course, more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk about the year of 88 and those actors and, why they seem, those hip hop artists that have transitioned into Hollywood, why they seem to be thriving. And we're going to talk about a little bit about sex scenes in romantic comedies and if there needs to be a change in them. One actor thinks so. So all of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. At least one person is dead and several people are injured after a shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves said 10 to 15 more people were hurt in the incident. Graves added 2 people have been arrested. The mayor of Kansas City said the White House called to offer any help. It's not yet known what led to the shooting. No team personnel were injured. Baltimore City Mayor Brandon Scott is using federal COVID relief money to purchase a pair of hotels to house the homeless. Mayor Scott, who is black, announced the city will pay $15.2 million to buy the Sleep Inn and Suites in Holiday Inn Express along North Front and Gay Streets near the south end of the Jones Falls Expressway. The Baltimore Board of Estimates will consider the deal next week, which includes paying more than $3 million to the seller to manage the hotels. The money comes from the American Rescue Plan Act. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Progressive Insurance is making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.media.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.media.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We're not just a thermometer recording and broadcasting popular opinion. We aim to be a thermostat, transforming the conversation about climate justice in our community. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Watch out! You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, I am D.L. Hughley, host of the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show, heard weekdays from 2 to 4 exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. I promise to make you think a little, but laugh a whole lot more. So tune in to the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show 2 to 4 only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call, telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove. For the first time in my life, I see I need love. There I was, giggling about the games that I had played with many hearts, and I'm not saying no names. Then the thought occurred, teardrops made my eyes burn, as I said to myself, look what you've done to her. I can feel it inside, I can't explain how it feels. All I know is that I'm never dishing of the raw deal, playing make-believe, pretending that I'm true. Holding in my laugh as I say that I love you, saying I'm more, kissing you on the ear, whispering I love you and I'll always be here. Although I often reminisce, I can't believe that I found a desire for true love floating around inside my soul, because my soul is cold. One half of me deserves to be this way till I'm old, but the other half needs affection and joy, and the warmth that is created by a girl and a boy. I need love.
Welcome back in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I remember I could play that melody on the piano. Hip-hop's first love song, hip-hop's first sex symbol, that would be LL Cool J. So we talked about a couple months ago, Will Smith has a new podcast called Class of 88. Well, they've been slow rolling out the episodes, but they recently dropped episode 3, and it features Queen Latifah and Rakim, right? So in the episode, they were having a conversation by they, Will and Latifah, and they were talking about why so many actors from their kind of class made the smooth transition from hip-hop into Hollywood. And when I really thought about it, you think about, okay, obviously we have Crush Groove, which was the first time we saw LL on screen, had Run DMC in it, the Fat Boys, etc., etc. LL Cool J had a couple of films that he did during that mid to late 80s period. He was in, what is the film? Life of Mikey, maybe? I don't know. He played a detective in it. And there was something else. He was one of the early ones to jump out. Obviously, we know about the career of Ice Cube and what he did. Queen Latifah, Q-Tip, who came out with the Tribe Called Quest in the 88 time era. Will Smith. Obviously, and there's others that I could go on and name. And, heck, you even think about Tone Loc, who probably dropped in 88. He had a little cameo in Poetic Justice, too. But there's quite a few that have made the jump. So Latifah and Will were speaking about why they thought artists from that particular time frame were so suited to make the connection and the crossover from hip-hop to Hollywood.
There seems to be something about our era coming up in rap that prepared us to be able to act. With me and you and LL and Cube and Ice-T, what is it about rappers that are prepared as actors?
One of the things is videos, making videos.
Yeah.
And seeing ourselves on camera, being experienced on that kind of set. There's a director, there's someone lighting, there's someone doing wardrobe or creating a scene. We had to get in character.
Yeah, it was definitely
we had to sell. We had 3 minutes to sell this record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we had to, sell the idea of whatever we were trying to put out there to the fans, to the people. And there's a lot of people standing around watching you, so the nerve, you get to break through certain nerves, I think, while doing that. Also, that live performance, jumping on a stage and rocking a crowd. Is like, if you can do that, you kind of are halfway there, because you're going to get through those jitters that you need to get through. And you get in character when you get on stage.
So shout out to Latifah and Will Smith. I do think we talk a lot about artist development and the lack of solid live performances from a lot of artists in this era. And you think about it, I mean, videos are very different now. Now, obviously, at the time when they started out, videos weren't $1 million budgets and so forth. They were more, stringed together. But I also think about the fact that there were more things seemed more organic, even if they weren't. There's a blueprint, obviously, to being an artist or an actress at this point in time. Not that there wasn't then, but there are definitely check marks. And I feel that we almost follow them too closely. Like, yes, this is the pattern and the path of success, but what made things great back then is that everybody had their own little twist on things. And I think that there was, too, more time for them to develop. You know, they didn't just come. Well, Fresh Prince kind of did. Came out the gate with the first video, and we were like, that guy's probably a star. But I think the time that their talent was allowed to develop, they weren't just right away given the big thing. Like, you think about the fact that Ice Spice was just in a Super Bowl commercial on Sunday. And that's cool. I'm not mad at that. But her delivery was a little dry, like her performances, right? But we know I forgot Yo-Yo was acting back in the day. Like, all of them, there's so many. And they did decent roles. I have a friend that's an actor, though. That Kid and Play. How can I forget Kid and Play? Right there with them, you know. So there is something about that time. And I think about Kid and Play, and they were just being themselves, personality. They were joking. I remember the Rap City episode when they were joking about the and we've talked about this before, and I can't think of the classic album series that they were talking about with the "No, my brother, you've got to get your own," and all of those things. I think that, one, artists aren't allowed to really find their groove now because everything is on blast. And if they have a little bit of success or a little bit of buzz, somebody's going to come in and push them to the top because everyone's trying to find that wave to ride and stick to. But not everybody has it. And shout out to Forensic Accountant. I was going to get to you an answer. It was he was asking what cartoon Tone Loc lent his voice to back in the day. And it was CJ Bear and Jamal or something like that. Hey Love is the record series that I was referring to that had all the oldies slow jams with the stylistics and the Delphonics and all of that stuff on it. But we talk about this a lot, and we see even the development that happened with someone like Summer Walker when she started working with Tiana Taylor, or what's her name? Lotto, when she got with Tiana Taylor. Even Sweetie made steps to improve her show. And I know that stage show is just one portion of it, but I think for a lot of these artists, especially since they are not just performers, they are entertainers in the sense of the word, that they're sticking their hand into everything as they should. I think if I was an artist currently, I would invest in some type of artist development person, choreographer, something, because it's even little things, like even when they're performing on stage, people don't always know that sometimes the little offhanded gestures or the taking off the jacket at that one particular moment, sometimes some of those things are choreographed. And I think some of these new artists could use a bit of that, because sometimes they're just like standing there with a deer in their headlights, or they don't really know what to do or how to engage the crowd or how to give them theater. Everybody went crazy over that little moment with Alicia Keys and Usher, with him hugging her from the back. That is what a performer does. That is giving you a show. Do you know, both of them have been at this since they were teens. Usher left there and went and got married. He wasn't thinking about Alicia Keys. He does not care. He has his latest Forevermore. Do you know what I'm saying? But he made it look good, and it kept everybody talking, and it kept more people probably going back to look at the footage, run it back, see if it was really there, and run the streams and views up. So it's all theater. And as much as we talk about the setup, the clout chasing, and the antics, you would think that there would be some solid performance that would come along with it. And I think that, you know, we give a lot of flowers to that era of hip hop and those people, but sometimes when you really look at the things that they are able to do and how they have expanded their craft out, don't forget the hard work and the studying that also came along with that too. So that's what I have to say about that. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Listen up, City of Los Angeles renters that live in rent-controlled units. Landlords can now increase your rent by 4%. Know these 3 facts. The rent increase is allowed February 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. An extra 1% per utility up to 6% can be added if the landlord pays the entire gas and electric bill. And illegal rent increase complaints can be filed at housing.lacity.org. Check if you live in a rent-controlled unit and learn more at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus, plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Forensic accountant Terry in the chat are adding to more performers they think have great stage presence. Terry mentioned the OJs and Gerald Levert. Great stage present and dynamic voices. Absolutely. Not hip-hop to the topic, but absolutely great performers that we love to see. Forensic accountant mentioned the choreography between Kane, Scoob, and Scrap, Big Daddy Kane. And wasn't Big Daddy Kane has had a couple of little acting roles here and there, I believe, a little bit later, but Tretch, he's also, expanded his acting wings. We have Juice. He was in Jason's Lyric, a couple of other things. So, again, it was trendy in that time period. Because one thing that I've noticed, this is totally random, but whenever people talk about 90s stuff and some of the hip-hop stuff and some of the groundbreaking things, nobody ever talks about the movie Who's the Man? It was an MTV-based movie. It starred Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. It was directed, I believe, or produced by a guy named Ted Demme, who was responsible for Yo MTV Raps. Had a bunch of cameos in it from hip-hop artists. I think Busta Rhymes, too, might have been like his first thing or whatever. But there was a lot of hip-hop moments and things back then that were started I think Ed and Dre played like some type of security guards or cops or something in it, but nobody ever talks about it. The soundtrack was banging. The soundtrack actually had Party and BS on it, which was Biggie's first single. So, shout out to that movement back in the day. Again, that's why I say when people say, "Oh, I love the '90s," and I'm all about that, but there are certain key moments and things that were really a part of the process that set precedents, and they don't mention them. They're just copying off of other people. Anyway, forensic accountant mentioned that Kane was in Posse, which shout out to Posse. Since we've been talking about Western and cowboy roots, Posse was a black cowboy movie made by Mario Van Peebles. The Harder They Fall was in the 90s. Sally Richardson was in it, looking amazing. A couple others were in it. It was a good flick, and again showed us in that cowboy era that at that point we hadn't really seen a great deal of us in those type of roles, and it was produced by that. Forensic accountant says Who's the Man was the era when we bought soundtracks without ever seeing the movie. Facts. The early to mid 90s soundtracks, once they figured out, oh, we can market the movie like this. Oh, we can market our new artists like this and make videos, show clips of the movie and keep it moving. Done deal. It took off. And there were some great soundtracks that were dropped in that early time period with some bangers. And that was a way that a lot of new artists got introduced because, basically it was a compilation album. If you think about it, really think about it. And you could get a solid single or two from a group that you liked, something new, and then introduce yourself to some new people. And there was a lot of soundtracks where stuff dropped and you just never heard from the artist again. Sad. Anyway, since we've been talking about love today, let's talk about romantic comedies and the sex scenes in them. One actor thinks that the sex scenes in them are way too unrealistic, and he would like to see a change in them. Damon Wayans Jr. feels that, they do a little too much on the screen when there are relationship scenes in that manner that get physical. So right now he's starring in the new Netflix rom-com called Players, and he says that he'd like to keep some of the tropes, but there are a few of them that definitely need to be put to bed. For example, he says, I think what I would lose is how good the sex is in all of the movies because they're always like rolling off of each other and saying, that was so crazy. He said, realistically, it's whack a lot of the time. And I would like to see that put out there and shown on the thing, right? He says, I think I would like to see something a little more realistic, stuff that happens, in real life. I would have to say I agree with him on that. Like we saw some of that in Insecure. That's how there were some of those moments that became classic. The whole thing with Issa in the studio with Daniel and the wayward shot to the eye, the condom getting lost with her TSA bay and things of that nature. But it's true. Sometimes, especially when you're talking about in the early stages of a relationship where people may not be as familiar with each other, things can get a little tricky. Things can get awkward. So, you do want to see some of those moments where it doesn't always come together in the same way that we expected. So shout out to him for bringing light to that. Maybe we'll see it instead of, because, I am one that says that I feel like in some of especially, I feel like Power was really guilty of this for a while. They've kind of pulled back, but just the unnecessary sex scenes dropped in there. Like, I get it, but not. Like, come on, man. And just sometimes the gratuitous nudity is like, did I really need to see that? Again, I get it, but sometimes it's like put some art in it, or at least make it where it feels like there's a purpose to this more than just showing me, oh, she got an update on those last set. Cool. Anyway, forensic accountant, he's reminiscing about old soundtracks from the 90s. Nothing to Lose. I remember that. I feel like that was a movie with Martin Lawrence in it. And Terry says, I saw that movie and it was very funny. I didn't know there was a Dr. Dre. Terry, you didn't know that there was a Dr. Dre on Yo MTV Raps? The way that they would differentiate between the two is that Yo MTV Raps Dr. Dre actually spelled his name Doctor, the whole thing. And obviously, Dr. Dre, the producer and artist, just does the DR period. I feel like there was a little bit of controversy about that back in the day, especially considering that the Dr. Dre East Coast was kind of a staple on the East Coast in the hip hop scene. And obviously we know what world class Wrecking Crew and Dr. Dre was here on the West Coast. We were familiar with him, hearing him in the Mix Masters on Saturday night and all of those things. But yes, for the record, there were two Dr. Dres, Ed Lover and Dr. Dre, on Yo MTV Raps every week after school. You would come home and check them out. Forensic Accountant says 1970s sex scenes were crazy. Probably, but I feel like even in that, they at least tried to be more creative or have more art into some of the things. Now, sometimes it just seems like, hey, we're just going to have somebody run across the screen with the shirt off for no reason. And now, since we've gotten to the equal opportunity era, a lot more male frontal scenes. And sometimes it's just like, are we just doing that just to say that we did it? Because I don't know how this is connecting to the story or making me feel that way. Yeah, so Forensic Accountant says, I don't think I ever saw a whole 70s movie at the drive-in because my mom was always covering my eyes. It was an interesting time. Listen, thank you as always for locking in with us. I actually have one more story, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow because I think it's a deeper conversation that we need to have. I didn't let you know about the prices for some of Beyonce's hairline things that are dropping. So what I can tell you is that they do start from $20 on up, so pretty reasonable when you think about it. There's deep conditioning moisturizing cream. There's a reconstructing mask that is about $24. All hair care. Fortifying treatment kit, which is $46. There absolutely is a kit for the Superfan bundle that's about $265 that has everything in it. There's a moisture sealing lotion, $38. A nourishing oil that's $44 that has like 13 different oils that I'm kind of interested in checking out. So we'll have to see. We're only a couple of days away from that drop and more. Listen, make sure you are locked in for more news, more trending topics, more headlines every night, 9 p.m. Pacific time here on KBLA Talk 1580. I appreciate you VIPs for rocking with me as always. I hope you have an amazing night, and we'll be here tomorrow for you. When we come forward on the other side, the best of KBLA.
The freaky side of me, girl, I wanna give you every inch of me. Jump up in my truck and let me take you there. I'll let you ride on through the night. I'm a sexaholic and I'm cool with it, so let me eat that kitty till I'm through with it. Wanna see you shaking cause you loving it. The pleasure's all